Hi there, welcome to Twice. Hopefully, everything is working this time because I want to speak a little bit about next week and the full moon in Sagittarius, which represents the ninth house and the world of ideas. And it's time to see the broader picture. It's time to basically learn something new, make up your mind, and it's also a time to say something, maybe to express an opinion, and it's a little bit up to you because this full moon will sextile planet Mars in Aquarius. And for Aries, the ninth house is the original ninth house of ideas, and Aquarius is the 11th house of groups and friendships. So maybe it's time to meet with others to bring up some important message, to address some ideas and discuss things. And next week is good also because there is a fire, an air trine. Mars will trine Mercury, and it's a time for thinking, storming something, coming up with new ideas and conclusions. So there's a lot of mental energy, and relationships could be quite important because there is Grand Trine in water signs with Venus in Cancer, Neptune in Pisces, and Jupiter in Scorpio. So it's a time to expand your feelings and to dare to hope and to believe. And let's check out a card for Aries, an archetype card for this full moon in Sagittarius next week. I don't know how well the mic works when it's far away. Hello, Sam. I see the chat this time. Let's check out for Aries. We've got the femme fatale card, which is about healthy attachments when it's in its light attribute. And it's also about erotic energy. It's about being so magnetic, so beautiful. And hi, Sagittarius princess. And it's also a card of attachment, of wanting to be loved and adored, and maybe a certain plays a role also in the life of Aries, a femme fatale, a very magnetic, very charming woman. And somebody told me once actually that femme fatales, this very successful women in love life, like they are not necessarily beautiful, but they know what buttons to push when it comes to the opposite sex or even the same sex relationships. Who knows? And it can be a male as well, or a Don Juan of some sort, but usually it depicts women in general. And the attribute, it's an inappropriate use of sensuality, attachment to money and power. So in its shadow attribute, the femme fatale is not just looking for love and admiration for its own sake, for the ego, because the ego needs it, but it's actually, it's calculated and wants money and power. So it depends now. Maybe if we have somebody bugging you around you, somebody that is manipulative and that is looking for money and power, or and so on, maybe it's time with this full moon in Sagittarius to make a decision, to see the bigger picture, to see what role this person plays in your life, and also perhaps for Aries, to say something. And because there to Pluto in the 10th, be a little bit of a power struggle. And I'm going to check out tarot card as well. Let's see, cosmic tarot. I don't use tarot so much for Aries as well. A tarot card for the full moon in Sagittarius. What's this full moon in Sagittarius about? Let's check it out. We have strengths, and strengths is of course associated with Leo, but I see this card usually as somebody that is very strong, that has to endure some stuff. And it's a card of hardship, but also great strengths, and great strengths, the inner lion. And you have again quite beautiful woman on this card as well. So maybe it's a Leo female that you are dealing with, challenging, could be both for Aries. And let's check out now. We go to Taurus, and for Taurus, this full moon is in the 8th house of investments. This is also a house of inner transformation and inner strengths. Card sometimes even of the that you have within, and that you can use what you want, or to even manipulate others depending on the situation. It's also money we get through others, and money from the state, and passive income, and so on. So let's see what the archetype for the sign of Taurus for the full moon in Sagittarius. In the 8th house, trine Mars in the 10th house. So I think that for Taurus, this full moon is very much about self-respect as well. It's about how you use to gain outer control, or to take charge of your own life, also achieving some financial goals, or strengths in dealing with authority, or bosses, or teachers if you are younger, parents as well. Full moon in Sagittarius, Taurus. So your card is engineer. So this could be about work. It could be about things that you need to fix, that you have to have a know-how about. It could be about construction, repairing stuff, computer work, getting things to functions, all kinds of plans, design, but designing plans, for the future, or getting things done in some sense, or hiring somebody that can do this work for you. And it depends now if this depends on the situation. In its shadow attribute, engineer is about relying on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences. So maybe the card warns that there is a risk of not taking into account people's humanity or emotions, or what have you. So let's check out a tarot card as well for Taurus. For the full moon in the sign of And there is a connotation also to money and good relationships next week in general, because Mars in Aquarius will trine Mercury, which enters Gemini, and the sun is already, I believe, in Gemini. So there are trines Mars, trines Mercury, trines the sun in Gemini, which is the second house of income. So you might gain a couple some money. There is a Grand Trine in water signs, Venus in Cancer, Jupiter in Scorpio, Neptune in Pisces, and relationships develop in the right direction. So let's check cosmic tarot for the sign of Taurus. And your card is Princess of Pentacles. So I like this card. It's easy money. It's the card of the student as well. And it's somebody that is ready to learn, but also in some cases, somebody of low position, or a person that is just a kid, or even a low rank in society, but still having the ability to learn, being very intelligent, knowing lots of things, and also having the ability to manifest lots of money. So it's a very good card. Basically, it could represent, of course, somebody that you deal with during this week, and there could be a connection to studies, and also to skills, to education, and so on. So nice. Engineer and Princess of Pentacles. There is lots to do with fixing things, having the know-how, in the intelligence, and also making money, money making opportunities, or even easy money, I would say. Not feeling like you are working a lot to make the money, even if you do work, but it doesn't feel like you do. So let's go on to the sign of Gemini. So for Gemini, this full moon is taking place in Sagittarius in the seventh house of relationships, sextiling Mars in the ninth house. And therefore, this is about culminations in relationships, and maybe having to deal with a long distance relationship, or in a relationship with a person from another country, or regarding opinions that you might have. Maybe you have something to tell somebody, or maybe you want to take a step towards somebody and ask this person to talk to you, to discussion with you, so that you can express your opinion as well, or clear the air. It could be about a new partnership as well, or even a new passionate relationship, I would say. But there is a little bit of uncertainty and frustration because of the semi square to Pluto in the eighth house. But there could be a lot of sexual tension, of course. Let's check out a tarot card for this full moon in Sagittarius for Gemini. What else do we have when it comes to Gemini? There is Mercury in your own sign in Gemini will trine Mars in Aquarius. So again, you have this need to express your opinions, maybe to travel somewhere, to discuss a thing. This is also a good trine for any kind of international negotiation, business deal. And then there are some months as well, because of the Grand Trine in work and money houses. Financial goals maybe are achieved. So let's check out. You have Venus in Cancer, your second house of income. So maybe a great investment. Some of you might make a good investment as well. Venus in the second house is often associated with buying lots of stuff, but beautiful, expensive stuff. But at the same time, it also means that there is money. So let's check your for Gemini. What card? Full. So you might take some kind of risk during this week or with this full moon, or maybe you let your passion, your desire, your feelings, your anger, your frustration even guide you in some new direction. But I'm going to check out another card, another tarot card for Gemini, because this just jumped out. Let's see. Okay, another card jumps out, the Fool again. So there's definitely something regarding the Fool, a whole new start, starting a new journey in life that is completely unplanned, taking a risk, doing something, but not knowing what you are doing, but still hoping that it will work out, and usually it does. You learn a lot along the way. You have lots of trust, and some see the Fool a little bit as a bad card, because they warn you that you should actually be careful. But I see this as good card in this deck. It doesn't look like the Fool is about to jump from the cliff, but it's more about showing that you can actually handle the the cliff, you can handle the abyss in front of you, because this Fool is actually quite happy, content. So let's check also out an archetype card for the sign of Gemini for this full moon. So there could be a whole new relationship with this, taking a risk in a relationship, because this full moon is about relationships for Gemini. So let's see an archetype card as well for the sign of Gemini for the full moon in Sagittarius next week. So we have Martyr for and this Martyr is also jumping a little bit here. It's in the air. But Martyr in its light attribute is not so much about self-pity and playing the victim, or even giving up one's life for a cause, but it's more about service, and it's about actually dedicating oneself to something that is important, to a cause, and also being able to transcend difficulties and develop as a human being, and realizing your inner power and what you are capable of doing, and so on your own, when you have a cause in mind and you are ready to stand up for what you believe in, and walk your talk. So you have the Fool and Martyr. So maybe it's somebody around you, maybe it's you yourself that uh, dedicate yourself. Maybe you believe in something during this week and you are ready to stand up for it, or maybe you enter an association with somebody that believes in something, and so on, or you are ready to stand up for something even if it's unpopular, or and so on. But definitely is something new, unplanned things happen. And let's see, the next sign is Cancer, and you have Venus in your own sign with a Grand Trine in water signs with Jupiter planet of expansion and learning things, and luck in your house of children and fun. And Neptune, trine to Neptune in Pisces, which is your ninth house of higher education, ideas, and so on. And you're lucky when it comes to anything creative in love life, in travel. If you are traveling somewhere, you will have fun. People like you like other people, you enjoy spending time with children and so on. But the full moon in Sagittarius affects health and work, and therefore maybe you get something done. There are changes taking place at work. You might finish a project, you might consider leaving a project or some work undone, actually, because you are thinking, I have to take care of myself. And it's a good sign, actually. It's there is maybe you take care of yourself first, you invest in yourself first, and you don't care so much about others, because there is this semi sextile to Pluto in your house of relationships. And it's like, I have to take care of myself here first, and I'll see if I have time over for your energy for you, and so on. So there is a little bit of tension maybe in a relationship, but at the same time, it's also a time when you're ready to take some care of yourself. Let's check um, archetype card for you. And this is also a week with Mercury um, trine Mars. So Mars is in your in what sign? In your 8th house, and Mercury and the Sun is in Gemini in your 12th house. So it's also a time of realization, realizing things, and also having faith, having spiritual support, but also inner some type of inner strength, and also finding. Let's check out an archetype card for Cancer. For the full moon in Sagittarius Cancer in the 6th house of work and house Cancer. Don Juan. So definitely love is in the air, and you are very happy to be with somebody that really adores you or acts it anyway. And you might meet somebody that is very seductive. You might go dancing or going out and meet somebody, or meeting somebody on travel. Maybe he's Spanish, who knows? Don Juan is um, Spanish. And of course, the in its negative or shadow attribute, Don Juan is about using the power of romantic attraction for private agendas. So in a sense, you have to be a little bit realistic here, because there's this trine to Neptune in the ninth house. And Neptune, we live in our heads, we have our heads in the clouds, and we daydream a lot, and we don't want to see reality as it is. But since aspects are pretty good during this week, I think that we can become really, really romantic, and it's okay to dream, it's okay to fantasize, and it's okay to see the world through rose painted glasses, and so on. Let's check out also a tarot card for Cancer for this full moon in Sagittarius. Wow. So your card is Princess of Cups. So definitely there is a lot of emotion, and you are touched by how you are treated. And maybe you go out, you are drinking from something from this cup, you know. And at the same time, of course, cups are emotions. Princess of Cups is being a little bit shy, a little bit overwhelmed even by emotion, but it's also a card of love in general. So you have Don Juan and Princess of Cups, and definitely love is in the air, lots of emotions, and you know, love, just enjoying relationships and romanticism, and maybe going out, having fun, you know, dancing with somebody, having somebody being maybe really attracted to you. You might be very attracted to somebody, but of course there's an element of shyness to the whole thing, and emotions can become pretty overwhelming with the Princess of Cups. But now it depends, maybe sign, maybe it's easier for you to handle these things. So let's see, the next sign is yes, drunk with love. Yeah, so next sign is the sign of Leo, and in your case the fifth house is the fifth house. The Sagittarius is the fifth house of romance. It's the house of children and having fun. And there's the sextile to planet Mars. And maybe you take a chance in love life. You address something. Maybe there is something you need to say to somebody. Aquarius, where Mars is your seventh house of relationships, could be connected to work a little bit, to health even, because there is a semi sextile to Pluto in the sixth house of work and health. And maybe it's connected to work for some of you. Maybe you need to speak with somebody about your health. Maybe you are a little bit too stressed out. Maybe somebody stresses you out. And you could be very you know, in the mood of just having fun and enjoying a certain relationship, and there is a certain amount of power and a certain amount of passion. And Mars is trining Mercury, so social life becomes really important. But Mars, you know, in the seventh house is also about sometimes conflicts, but sometimes it's about defending somebody else. So maybe you defend somebody else in discussion with others, and there is emotional balance as well because of the Grand Trine in water signs affecting houses for and also psychological life, and things too deep. But there is let's check out an archetype card for the sign of Leo for this full moon in Sagittarius on Tuesday. Don Juan, uh, just like Cancer, the card Don Juan. So maybe you do. This could be a very romantic, passionate week for you. So again, maybe you are considering dating somebody, and maybe you have to make some space for it because what is sextile to Pluto. Maybe you have to go out with somebody, and at the same time, you have some other stuff to do, like work and so on. and of course be Don Juan is also represents, of course, the person that dates lots of women and is very charming. It could have be manipulative or have some type of agenda. But let's check out also a card from the tarot deck, cosmic tarot deck. So it could be a romantic week for you as well, Leo. Let's see what shows up for the sign of Leo, full moon in Sagittarius. So your card is Six of Swords. So this is a card of balance. It's a card of keeping it together while nothing seems to happen, or while you go through very boring times. It's also a card of science originally. This Six of Swords is a little bit different from the actual Rider Waite tarot deck, but it's still it's about balance, definitely. When you look at this guy, or maybe this guy is a man that is thinking a lot, and it's also about not worrying about where you go from here. Even you feel, in a sense, you feel that things are stagnant. I believe you would like to move forward, but you don't see the development taking place, or you feel a little bit, and this card represents it a little bit, like now I have to balance it all. But this guy is standing in one spot, not moving, with the swords on the ground there. So it depends now. Maybe you need to meditate. Maybe you need to put your thoughts together to make some space for getting into balance. Also, when it comes to love life, and this Don Juan guy, or maybe there's a lot of a mental connection to this Don Juan. There is love, but there's something higher. There's a mental connection between the two of you. And let's check out now the next sign with Virgo. Full moon in Sagittarius will take place, fourth house of home and family. Maybe you have to get something done in your home with this full moon, because I'm sorry, my phone is ringing and my washing machine. So for Virgo, the full moon in Sagittarius is in the fourth house of home and family, sextiling Mars, the planet of action, energy, ambition, in your sixth house of work and health, and therefore something has to get done. Maybe at home you need to repair something, you home, maybe you are refurnituring, or you are cleaning some space, or there's something going on in the home or in the family and you need to take action. And could be a connection to children as well, or to romantic life, or to a party even, because there's a semi-sextile to Pluto in the fifth house in Capricorn. So when it comes to there is something, you can achieve your goals also next week, because Mars trines in the sixth house will trine planet Mercury in your 10th house, and it's like through communication action, you can get things done, or goal, take control over a certain kind of situation. Could be regarding home, family, parents, or your role as a parent, and so on. And when it comes to the Grand Trine in water signs, um, it will affect areas of communication and relationships, of course, and therefore relationships are developing smoothly during this week. Let's check out an archetype card and a tarot card for the sign of Virgo for this full moon in Sagittarius next week. So your card is healer for this full moon. So it says here in its light attribute, repairing the body, mind, and spirit, ability to help transform pain into healing. So maybe you are helping a family member also heal, because the sixth house where Mars is also about health. Therefore, maybe you help out a family member which is sick, or maybe you are trying to heal a certain situation, repair it, and it has a positive impact in general uh, when it comes to health or well-being and so on. But at the same time, you also need to care for yourself. And let's check out also um, tarot card from the Cosmic Tarot for the sign of Virgo. Full moon in Sagittarius, Virgo. So let's see. I don't use reversals at all. So Ten of Pentacles is very much about money, money showing up. Basically, that's how I see this card. Usually, it means salary. It means that you receive some money from somewhere, and maybe this. Whatever is happening during this week also improves your finances, or some money is finally showing up and you can invest it in health, you can invest it in some kind of home improvement, even buying something that you need that makes life easier, or just receiving, because of this Mercury trining, Mercury the sun in Gemini. Maybe your work pays off, you are accomplishing something, and you receive some kind of financial reward during this week, or with this full moon even. Maybe it's some work from home as well that is paying off. You gain some money, so money definitely show up. And the next sign is the sign of Libra. And for you, Libra, the this full moon in Sagittarius affects your third house of communication and interaction, and the third house is about neighbors and brothers and sisters, and well, and travel, short travel, and vehicles, streets, or short travel, like driving and walking and stuff like that. And there is a sextile to Mars in your fifth house, and maybe it's time to have a fun conversation with somebody, and maybe that's what happens. Maybe you don't know how to approach a certain subject. You need to say something to somebody, but you say it in a very fun way, so this person can laugh, but also get what you mean. Some of you might express your ideas in a very creative way, or maybe you take a chance in love and romance, or you have to say something to your child, and so on. And there is some family frustration as well because of the semi-square in to Pluto in the fourth house of home and family. And Mars also trines Mercury in Gemini in your ninth house. And this is also a good trine. It's very positive. You are very optimistic, outgoing, and there could be some positive things going on also when it comes to work, career, and money. And because of the water Grand Trine in um, affecting areas of your life that are about Jupiter is in Scorpio, your second house of income, Neptune, sixth house of work and health, and Venus in Cancer in your 10th house of career. So it can have a positive impact on work and career and security when it comes to work, and easy luck when it comes to money and so on. So let's check out an archetype card for the sign of Libra for the Sagittarius full moon. Your card is Child Eternal, and this is about an ability to have fun and to find that inner child, to express it, and also to see things with fresh eyes, because through life we have experiences or we're taught by others how things are, and we have judgments, we put everything in we immediately classify things, um, good, bad, or as having different characteristics and so on. And Child Eternal is about letting go of these classifications that we immediately make. They have a purpose. We know how to that everything that looks like is a door, and we don't have to search for a door each time we enter a building. um, we immediately know which one is the door, which one is the handle, uh, and so on. But sometimes it can create judgments about people. We see somebody and we immediately judge this person, have a lot of judgments about who this person is, what he she does, where he she comes from, and so on. Or when we sort out problems because we have mental blocks created by all these things. So, in its light attribute, Child Eternal is about determination to remain young, mind and spirit, ability to see things with eyes. And in its shadow attribute, it's about inability to grow up and to be responsible, extreme dependency on others for security. But that's not the case. I think that it's in its light attribute. You simply have a lot of passion, a lot of fun. Things come flow easily to you as well. To approach people and situations from positive perspective, to have fun in your life while you are working, while you are negotiating, and so on. Let's check also out a tarot card for Libra, sun sign, rising, moon sign. Yeah, they are all for sun sign, rising, and moon sign because they could um, apply. So for Libra, full moon in Sagittarius. Wow, the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is about being in limbo, waiting, or being victimized even in some sense, and at the same time not doing anything about it, maybe because you don't know what you are doing. You are looking for illumination, you are looking for answers, you want to know what this situation is about. You can't do anything about it if you don't understand what's going on, or how, what solution to find, and so on, and how, what is meaningful for you. So maybe you do need a new perspective on things, but this is also a time of finding answers, finding illumination, and maybe waiting, just waiting for some reason, and not moving so much forward. But of course, this hangman could also represent somebody in your life. Not, it's not necessarily you. And the hangman is also about changing perspectives sometimes. And it depends. Now some of you might wait for a person that left you 5 years ago, and this is also um, this card can appear in these situations when you choose to be stuck, or when you choose to wait for something, you know, it not moving forward. You don't understand that you are stuck in an idea, you know, that you have to wait, or that something will change, and so on. And this card can also show up when you feel that other people are using you in some sense. S- or maybe you are yourself in the process of finding illumination. You are changing and working on yourself, and so on. So let's check out another sign. Scorpio, sun sign, rising, moon sign, and the full moon is in Sagittarius, affect your finances. And with this full moon, you can finally buy something in your home. You can finally gain some money, or you can finally change your bank, or make a transaction, or you finally get the money you are waiting for, and so on. But there's a connection maybe to work from home, because there's a sextile to Mars, and maybe you start a new project, or you find a new source of income working from home or through family. It's in the home, but you could very well also buy something in the home. There's this sextile to Mars in your fourth house of home and family. And there's a little bit of frustration, maybe impatience also, when it comes to whatever you want to do around this time. So, there could be some investment in the home, because Mars trines Mercury. So Mercury is in your eighth house of investments, and there is this Grand Trine in water signs, with Venus in your ninth house, Jupiter in your own sign, and Neptune in the fifth house. So there's a lot of hope, a lot of creativity, and a lot of luck as well. And you are expanding. You are um, realizing that your gifts, creative skills, and also the power of your imagination, how powerful this can be, and the belief, the power of belief. And also you might realize also that, of course, during this time, that you can have this positive outlook on life, and you can get along with all kinds of people. You can be diplomatic in your relationships, and also um, yeah, that you are you are smarter. Maybe you find that you know lots of things more than you thought, you know, because when Jupiter is in your own sign, you are lucky, of course, but in a trine to Neptune, two houses, the fifth and ninth house is also expansion through realizing, oh, I have this skill, I am very creative, I know this stuff, and I'm smarter than I thought, I understand this, it's easy for me, and so on. So, but there could be some luck also in international business of all kinds, and maybe money making opportunities for many of you, or you are teaching others. And let's see an archetype card for this full moon in Sagittarius for the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio. So your card is Avenger. And you do want justice in life, maybe in your own life, or in regard to other people, maybe a type of injustice, and you want a better society and a more just society, and you and so on, and Avenger in its light attribute, it's like Martin Luther King or Mahatma Gandhi, or somebody else that in a balanced way and avoids creating problems, and in its shadow attribute, it's using violence. There were incidents with animal rights activists. They burned down animal cages, where they kept animals, and animals got hurt as well. And it's also a shadow attribute of Avenger. They want try to make a point, but in the end, to violence, they do a lot of damage, and they get also a bad name. So but in general, Avenger in its light attribute, it's about standing up for something and believing in injustice. And let's see, or maybe you deal with somebody that is an Avenger, or somebody that has some attitudes, or some beliefs, things should be, as opposed to how they are. So let's see also a tarot card for the sign of Scorpio for this full moon. So your card is the Emperor, and I see the Emperor mainly about it's basically about authority and the rules and the regulations that authority imposes. So I see the Emperor as the force that limits the of the Empress. The Empress creates, and the Emperor says, enough, enough, enough of this good. We have to keep it within boundaries. We can't have all this creativity, just flowing around, all this abundance. It has to be kept into limits. And in this sense, the Emperor creates boundaries, it creates obstacles in our lives, and also sometimes rebellion, our own rebellion. So they kind of go on together in a sense. Avenger and the Emperor, you might feel like something is not right with authority. Authorities imposing these things on people that are not right, or maybe you feel that somebody is restricting you in some sense. Maybe you want you believe that things should be in society in some sense, but then there is have more freedom. It depends now on your situation. So the emperor is about rules and regulation. It's about obstacles in our lives. And with the avenger, you find a way to go around these obstacles because there are lots of possibilities. The more you think as an emperor, or that the more limited you are, you see there here is a restriction, there is a restriction, and I can't do that. And the avenger helps you to see that there's a way to go around that, perhaps, and that uh, solution to any kind of problem. And there, wherever there is a problem, there is also a possibility where you can find another way to of doing things, and so on. You have to think of the world as full of possibilities and not full of restrictions, and you will eventually open up and see those possibilities. So the next is Sagittarius. So this is your personal full moon in Sagittarius. A phase in your personal development is over. Maybe an important change is also taking place in your life. It might be about money, it could be about family and friends, it could be about the place you live, about the work you do, and so on. And some of you are more affected, others are less affected by this full moon. And some of you are finally ready to get something done. You have the guts to do it because of the sextile to Mars in the third house. Some of you might feel like it's time to have that important discussion with somebody. Maybe you have to insist a little bit, and it's a little bit up to you. Maybe you have to have a word with your neighbor or with a brother, with a sister, and so on, because of the sextile to Mars. But there is an inconvenience there connected to finances because of the semi square to Pluto in your second house of income. And Mars in your third house of communication trines Mercury, and the Sun in your seventh house of relation. Of you do negotiate. Maybe you make a deal with somebody, you have something important to discuss, and there could be, something that you are passionate about that you want to say, could have to do with some contracts, some important negotiations, and so on. And Grand Trine in water signs affect your 12th house, your 8th house, your 4th house. And you find more stability within, I would say, and the ability to find answers, and also to have to believe, to have hope, and also spiritual help and support. So let's check out an archetype card for Sagittarius for your personal full moon in Sagittarius. So your card is guide, and guide is about the nature of the divine. It's about inner guidance, it's about mysticism. So maybe some of you are very much into mysticism right now. It could be about magic, it could be about using stones, it could be about spirituality to be used for personal development, could be so that you act as a guide, could be so that you looking even for a guide. And of course, it's about spiritual insight and getting closer to or developing your side and so on, and things like that. And let's check out a tarot card as well for Sagittarius. Your card is Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Cups could be about a new meeting. It could be about a new relationship, a new social situation, new people you meet, getting in touch with your emotions, or a new emotional journey of some sort. And it's it's mainly about emotions. Some say that it's about creativity, but usually it's a change in social life, meeting new people, making new acquaintances, and also uh, maybe it's mainly about feelings. And I see it mainly as a card of new relationships and changes in life, having new friends, or maybe just because of what's happening in your life, just meeting lots of new people, making new acquaintances and so on. So it depends. Now for some of you, maybe it's a relationship that is very important to you, could be a love relationship, could be a new friendship, could be a new child being born, and there's a new emotional attachment. Could be new people that you are meeting because of work or because of everyday life situations. So with this sextile to Mars in your seventh house of in your excuse me, in your third position, there could you could get in touch with new people and making new contacts. And the next is Capricorn, and in your case, Sagittarius, where the full moon is your 12th house of insight, and therefore with this full moon, maybe finally you come to a conclusion, you find the answer to a question, some kind of insight. Could be about your values, could be about finances, and maybe you find out what something means to you and so on, which helps you in your personal, because you might feel frustrated with life because of the semi square to Pluto in the first house in Capricorn. So there could be a little bit of insecurity, a little bit of frustration, and so on. And maybe you find new clarity regarding things, and you find also new emotional balance and inner security because um, um, or finances are, excuse me, no, yeah, you could find inner stability and so on, but at the same time finances are improving. Mars trines Mercury, the sun, sixth house of work and health. So new money is coming in, and there are some financial gains that you are making or that you are beginning to make. And maybe you don't really have anything planned, with this full moon in Sagittarius, which is your house, 12th house. You don't know what you are doing really. It's this house of sleep, and but it's a house of just thinking around and finally seeing new things and finding insights even through dreams sometimes. And relate, and but at the same time, Mars, second house of income, trining the sun, Mercury in your sixth house of work and health, can bring in new work, new income. And there's a positive also development when it comes to relationships, because Venus is in Cancer, your seventh house of relationships, trining Jupiter in your 11th house of groups and friendships. So there is luck through partnerships, through relationships, even in marriage and in love. Trying to Neptune in the third house of communication. So Neptune is about navigating relationships with diplomacy. And Neptune is not stupid, it's not like Neptune doesn't see what's going on, but Neptune can be a little bit too forgiving, too negligent, basically. Maybe not so forgiving as negligent when it comes to really doing something about eventual, people double crossing one, or manipulative tendencies and so on. And especially with the trine to Jupiter is now, doesn't matter, nothing bad is going to happen and so on. But in this case, it's good because planets are really, I believe that they are supporting each other. So there could be partnerships for you, new opportunities, new ideas regarding how to make money, and also some good developments at work and when it comes to finances. So let's check out um, first. I'm a little bit tired now. um, a card from the from the archetype deck for Capricorn for the full moon in Sagittarius, which is your 12th house. So let's see. Oh, you got the same child eternal. And child eternal is about insights, it's about seeing things with fresh eyes, and also determination to remain young in body, mind, and spirit. So you don't grow old, you keep your useful um, way of seeing things with fresh eyes, and try not to judge, not to put things into boxes, and so on. And maybe this full moon helps you to basically see things from a new perspective and to navigate through different perspectives, looking at the same things through different or from different angles. And yeah, in its negative attribute, it's about not being able to grow up. But these are very two very different things, like feeling young and not feeling not falling into this ageism. When, oh, I'm 50 years or 40 years old and I'm too old for this and for that, and I can't dress like this or like that, or I can't do this and so on. So and it's another things not to take responsibility and to um, being completely immature. So let's also check out the tarot card from the Cosmic Tarot deck for Capricorn. Exactly the same as Sagittarius, I believe. Ace of Cups, new relationships, new love, new acquaintances. What's going on? I'm going to pull new cards for you, Capricorn. I don't like when thing you know repeat themselves. Maybe somebody has Capricorn sun sign, rising moon sign, and a good, a powerful mind and intention. Let's check out Capricorn, a new card, archetype card for Capricorn. Vampire jumped out. This is about blood sucking tendencies, of course. So it basically makes you aware that something or somebody is draining your life force, and sometimes you deal with somebody that is pretty evil when vampire shows up. Could be an emotional vampire, but let's check out a new card. Capricorn, what's going on with you? This reading is a mess when it comes to Capricorn. I think that you are going through things. Some of you might go through things, and others go through bad things, and they compete. You this card, this different life stories compete. You compete with one another. Let's see Capricorn full moon in Sagittarius. Let's see. Your card is athlete. So usually shows us that we have a great capacity to overcome any kind of difficulty in our lives. So you have a great power. You are stronger than you believe that you are, and you can actually transcend physical limits if necessary, and you can do more than you believe that you can do, even when it comes to real physical work, like lifting stuff or doing some work, that requires a lot of physical strength. You can do things even though you believe that you are limited, because let's say that you don't see that well, or you are too fat or too skinny or whatever, and you are thinking, I can't do this because I don't see that well, or I'm too fat or too skinny and so on. But you can transcend. These are ideas limiting you. And in its light attribute, it's about personal willpower, strength of spirit. So I believe that you are accomplishing a lot around this time, or that you have the ability to do so. And of course, an athlete, physically strong man might be very important in your life around this time. Could be somebody connected through work or social life, or it can be someone that you are dating, a brother even, or a man that reminds you of somebody that is very athletic, very into sports, that plays a significant role in your life. And of course, the warning with this card is not to um, feel invulnerable, because we are all at some point vulnerable, and still it's good to be a little bit careful. Let's check out also a card from the Cosmic Tarot deck. You are welcome, BND 7968. It feels like I'm answering to an avatar. Thank you, Leslie. Oh, yes, I'm feeling much better. Let's see, Capricorn. Capricorn, full moon in Sagittarius. Okay, so your card is the High Priestess, and this is a card of intuition. And this is a card of somebody knowing your secrets, somebody deconspiring you. If this is a word, I'm not sure. And you have alpha to omega here. And maybe this is a woman around you that is very psychic or that has the ability to make you talk. You tell this person everything, and this person can help you, of course, can be a good friend, but she could also use this information against you. It depends now from where this high priestess comes from, and this is also about, of course, intuition and psychic ability. And you have here the moon and open book, which holds so many secrets. But the high priestess can be anyone that finds out your secrets in one way or another. It's somebody that knows what you are thinking, what you are feeling, and this person somehow through communication, through other means, knows things about you. The high priestess could even be Facebook, that gathers all our personal data and review, for somebody else. So each major arcana card has a light attribute and negative attribute. It depends on how it plays out in our lives. So we're done finally with Capricorn, and we can move on to Aquarius. And this full moon is in your 11th house of groups and friendships, sextiling Mars in Aquarius. So there's a lot of energy around this time, and maybe there is something culminating in social life. Maybe you are thinking, I have to go and speak with this organization or with these people, or I have to try harder to make some money, because the 11th house is also a house of gains and of wishes sometimes coming true, and therefore a time to put that intention out there, to have that wish and to make things happen as you wish. But it's also connected to friends, to social life, and so on. And there is something bugging you at the same time, some inner insecurity, or some perspective, some idea that you might have about what people are saying about you. Could be anything because of Pluto. There's some suspicion because of the semi square to Pluto in your 12th house. But at the same time, a lot of ambition. But it's a little bit up to you. Do you want to stand up and talk in front of those people, or do you want to? Are you ready? Do you have the courage to really say what you are thinking to those people? Or maybe you want to join them, to join a group, an association, a cooperation, or just to be there to stand up for somebody that you care about, your friends, or the people that you see as your allies, and so on. But at the same time, there is some kind of comfort in that you find in regard to home and family. This gives you a sense of security, and there is some personal development at the same time taking place. Maybe you need to learn to deal with some stuff because of the Grand Trine in water signs. No, I'm wrong. Again, Cancer is your sixth house of work and health. So there are some gains, some financial gains, some money, some work opportunities. Yeah, so for you, there's something going on culminating regarding social life. Some of you might even change environment, maybe because you are moving, or because you get a new job, or because of other reasons you start a new Facebook page, or no, but at the same time, maybe you find a new market for your products or for your services and so on. It could be like that, but there's a little bit of insecurity and you need courage to take that step. And I believe that uh, the opportunity is out there because of this grand trine in water signs affecting areas of your life that have to do with work. On the other hand, there's inner insecurity. You don't know if you have enough ambition, or if you have enough time, or if you really can do it. But you can do it if you want to. Check out some zodiac sign. No, I'm getting so tired now. All my I'm saying all the wrong things. An archetype card. I'm calling everything. So let's check out archetype card for Aquarius for this full moon in Sagittarius. Avenger. You get Avenger as well. So it's again to stand up for something. Maybe you see that something that is unjust is taking place and you don't like it. You believe that it's completely immoral, and you might want to make sure that this person is treated in a just way, or maybe you are unhappy with something. um, so it depends. Now this person can be somebody in your life as well, somebody that you meet. This person can show up in its light attribute as somebody that doesn't like injustice, and this is ready to be of service to others, and or wants to see society, a more balanced justice system, maybe, or and so on the other hand, in its shadow attribute, it could be somebody that wants justice, but isn't ready to take the hard road in life, where you eventually convince others that something is wrong, but they resort to violence. And let's also check out a tarot card from the Cosmic Tarot deck. Let's see. Aquarius, all cards jump out. Full moon in Sagittarius. Death. And death is about transformation, and it's about change. And maybe you and the relationship with somebody, maybe this full moon in Sagittarius creates some frustration with somebody, and you end this relationship, or this relationship ends because you say to this person what you really think, and maybe there is a conflict, or some of you might not say what you really think. You might not take that step, and that's why the relationship ends. And then you have Avenger, and there could be some changes happening in your attitude towards your friends, or uh, regarding social issues, even of because of injustices taking place, or some incident I don't want to be somebody that says that this is a terrorist attack, or something like that. In its shadow attribute, Avenger could even be somebody resorting to some sort. And then you have death here. It could also be death could also be about negative thinking. It could be about thinking maybe you are unhappy with a situation that happens somewhere where people are killed, animals are killed, where people don't the positive, or maybe you are somebody connecting to others, to an entities, or not to maybe somebody in this a ghost in the spiritual realm and so on. But some other type of change could take place. It depends now. The interpretations are many, and maybe things are just changing, especially life, regarding relationships. And there could be a little bit of negativity and pain surrounding this changes taking place. And it's a little bit difficult to know. Let me pull one more tarot card. Aquarius. Okay, so judgment shows up as well, and it feels like there's some type of lesson to be learned, some kind of punishment even, or some type of judgment when you have to grow, you have to see, judgment is about judgment day, of course, when you are resurrected, so there's trans creates a new you, a new sense of self. So definitely something deep and profound is going on for at least for a couple of Aquariuses out there. Something is definitely changing. You are changing as a person. Let Pisces. Case the full moon in Sagittarius affects your 10th house, and this is the time when you want to take control over your own life. Some of you deal with rules, with regulations, and with authority. And authority could be anything, it could be your parents, your teacher, your mentor even, or somebody that has the power to control you a little bit. But at the same time, the 10th house is also the house where you take control, you take charge over your own life, and uh, how things will go. Maybe with the full moon in the 10th house, you might say to yourself that no, I can't let this situation control me, or this person, or this thing. I can't always blame my kids, or I can't always feel sorry for this person, because I can't get my stuff together, or I can't go where I want to go, or do what I can't my husband all the time, or my sister, or whomever it might be. So you you might come up with a conclusion that I have to put limits here. I have to take charge of the situation, and in this way I will do those things that I want to do, and accomplish those things that I want to accomplish, and so on. Or whatever it might be, anything that you feel is controlling you, and you don't like that any longer. You might put a stop to it, and you realize also, and it happens a little bit because there's a semi square to Pluto, and you don't want them to have any more power over you. Could be emotional power, could be the way they are directing your life in some sense, or putting hurdles in your way, or whatever it might be. Or maybe you take others too much into considerations, and you and so on. And there's a lot of discussion with this full moon, um, or a lot of insight um, with this full moon, and creativity, and you are having fun as well at the same time, because you grow stronger from within. You have that inner strength that it's very difficult to destroy. And you have this creativity and fun out way on life at the same time, because of this Grand Trine in water signs. And it's you are lucky basically when it comes to business, when it comes to work, to finances. It's like money flow easily in your life. You are also generous and compassionate, but this doesn't mean that you are others to control your life, or you or your life path in any way. With this full moon, you might come to this realization that I need to do everything I can to go on my path, and not allow others to. I can make my life fun. um, and even though I have to say no to certain people, or to command them a little bit myself, like, no, I have to go there, I can't go with you, I can't talk to you on the phone because I have something else to do, talk to you later, even if and so on. So let's see what the archetype cards are saying about this full moon for Pisces. So this advocate actually, so maybe some of you have to speak to a lawyer, also preaching. Maybe you care about animal rights, human rights, or you know you want a better ecology. You're thinking about nature and so on, and you act with compassion. And believe it or not, this is a very good thing, but many people hate it. There is more and more, I have noticed, especially in the last past 2 years or so, there are lots of people that condemn, compassion, that condemn animal rights or human rights, female rights, anything that is good, the concept that we are all equal, or anything, that we shouldn't be evil towards each other and so on. They think that you should it's totally so being an advocate for something is about acting from an idea of compassion. I have to care about this tree. This tree is alive. Why why mistreat it? Maybe it feels something. It's not right, and so on. But it could be about more important things. Advocate, maybe you have a lawyer around you, or somebody else is the advocate that is caring um, about something, like human rights, animal rights, all kinds in environment and so on. And in its shadow attributes, it's about people that pretend to care about children, or hunger epidemics or whatever it might be, and they do it just to gain appreciation or money and so on, or a position even in society. Politician would do that, maybe a corrupt one. It wants power. Let's see tarot card for Pisces for the full moon in Sagittarius. Wow, Ace of Wands. So Ace of Wands is about new action. It's about new work, new projects. So some of you might start a new business. You could start a new job. You could start a new project. So there is maybe it's a change in your career as well. Sagittarius, the 10th house, the house of career. So it's not, and it could be, it could require some action from your side, you know. So it's, and it's also a choice that you are making, because sextiles are choices, and you could choose to start that new project or not, you know, and so on, because there could be a couple of tensions, let's say, or you might choose to work with those people or not, or to change career even, could be something. It depends now, but in my opinion, Ace of Wands is about new course of action. It's about new work, new project, new job, and so on. Maybe it's about passion as well. It's about putting passion into your work. Could be about things like that as well, but in general it's new, because wands are all about, in all wands card, they talk about determination. It's about action. It's about what you do about stuff and so on. So new work, and then you have advocate and the ace of wands. So maybe you are starting a new project, being the advocate of something, or maybe you find somebody to help you start a new business or a new project, and it could be something that is associated with something like advocate, or maybe you plant a new tree. And this and you know, ace of wands, they say that it's also about birth. So maybe you get new pets, your cat has kitties, and so on. And this is everything for this. Wow, 1 hour and 38 minutes. That's a lot. No wonder I'm tired. And I wish you a great next week. Thank you for watching.